So I failed to demonstrate any skill, that's for sure. I haven't been using knives for a while. I used to remember I was a little bit better, but that's probably when I used to hold one knife. Now I'm trying to hold two. So I remember moving around something like this. I'd move like this and like this, like this and like this. And I just like, I'd come up and down. So it's far from a slash, unless I'm waving the knife, it's far from a slash. It's far from a slash. It's more like a guard. Like if I were to come down to a guard. And then I could slash there, come down, slash, come up, slash, down, slash, up, slash, 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 stab, slash, slash, stab, slash, stab. You know what I'm saying? Like it seems so much easier with one knife in your hand than two, because all I'm concerned about is just pretty much just that's what I'm concerned about is moving my hand over and under, reverse. I'm not really worried about anything else. But then when I put two hands, like I know I can slash, straight down. I have down. I have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and I know I can come back and forth. So I can go slash, stab, 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 slash, stab. And then I can do an ice pick and then come around. So that's what I learned. That's something new I learned, is how to trap with a knife using the ice pick. So just come around, trap, cut, come around, trap, cut, stab, trap, cut, stab, trap, cut, stab, trap, cut, trap, cut, stab, trap, cut, stab, trap, cut, stab, trap, cut, stab. So I learned a little bit of that. But the second I pick up a hand knife, and these used to be tongs, just so you know, so I'm not using real knives. I'm not cutting myself in any way. I'm being as safe as possible here. This is dull. It won't cut flesh. It won't cut anything. It won't cut clothing at all. So that's both sides. Being real safe here. So it used to look like this. I had this great idea when I saw it. I thought I want to come up with a knife. And I was looking for some ideas. And I ran into these tongs in public, and I said, that's the greatest knife ever, because at least I had one, and it wasn't the same as this. These are deeper serrations, but I had a small knife, not a small knife, it's a combat knife with a serrated end. So this whole tip was a blade, and then it came down to the bottom halfway. So it was split half and half, not like just the end. It was half and half. It was blade and then a sharp serration, just short edge serrations, all through the half of it. And I was playing with it one day. I was doing this with it, and I had it facing forward. I had just normal grip facing forward, and I just brought my forearm just too close, and when I brought it back, I slashed myself right fucking there. So I don't know if you can see that. You probably can't even see it. There it is. And that was the deepest cut I've ever had so far. I mean, other than the one on my lip and the one over my nose, and then a couple other on my knees and a few on my legs. But I think that's the deepest cut I've ever had, because I immediately looked at it and I noticed just some dialogue, there's great videos out there, a lot of great videos out there, but these are my videos and I'm just practicing. Hopefully one day I can perfect this, and not only my knife skill, but as well as my dialogue and my scripting and my narrations all together. Back to the subject though. So I was going ahead and I cut myself, and I realized that I could see a white line, and I'm not sure what that white line was. I didn't cut it, but I could see to the end of it there was this white line, and that white line I think was a tendon. So if I had cut any deeper, I would have slashed the tendon, and then they would have had to sew that back together, and God knows what tendon that would have functioned with. It could have functioned with my fingers or with my wrist. It was some tendon there, it was some meat, and that just goes for show as well, how close you are from a deep cut, you know, it's really close. It's not that far at all. It's less than an inch. You know, it's like I'm talking about like maybe like 1 or 5 millimeters, or so like less than that. Less than that, you know, like 1 or 2 millimeters. Like it's a really close cut for dysfunction to begin, you know, in the hand and your ability to control your muscles. So I figured this knife, if I took it and I sharpen these edges all through the end, I'd take this. You know, you can just make knives out of things you find. And this was the best thing I found, is out of this right here. You just take this, sharpen all this with the grinder, and then you sharpen these edges with the file. Most likely the best thing would probably be a chainsaw file, or not a chainsaw file exactly, but a rounded file, so that way you could get into these little grooves, and this, just as you go, file it up till it's a blade. And I realized what I'm trying to get to the point. Well, the point is that serration was the greatest cut I've ever seen, as far as I'm concerned. You know, I've seen good cuts with you know, the blade, but that serration, it seemed just to go through everything. It was real quick, you know. It was a graze. It was the most quickest graze ever. You know, I might get away with a quick cut, but the graze of a serrated edge just goes through the meat instantly. It's like a saw going off at a, I don't know, full speed, pretty much, because I was going full speed. I was doing this, and then I just caught myself. Now I'm not sure what this does, you know, really. It's like changing from a different position, you know. I'm still learning, but I figure, you know, as I learn, I'll get better. As I like notice things about me, like first of all, knife is behind my hand, so I could easily. This is exactly how I got a cut. But if I was really doing it professionally, and I was doing it my way, professionally and my way, those two words should meet one day. I would be wearing forearm braces, so I could protect my hand, and I could use the motion, you know, to go through. I could go through the motions without, you know, any fear of cutting myself, and the only fear would be stabbing myself, but that's it. So we go through the motions pretty much from here. See, I caught myself there in the thumb. From here, so from here to here to here, you know, always pushing back, you know, always pushing back, or blocking a hand, always pushing back, always. So I push back with the other hand. You know, I might not have another knife there, but I'm always pushing back, trying to evade or avoid, you know, someone's grabbing my defending hand. So let's go through it again. I'm gonna go through the motions. Maybe I should stand up, right? If it's a real demonstration, I shouldn't be sitting down. It's not really a demonstration. There's just a demo of what I can learn. So, you know, I'm learning this on my own. I don't have a teacher or any skilled master, or I'm not an apprentice. None of that stuff. I'm just all on my own. You know, I have knives. I've been around knives all my life. You know, and it's just an entertainment of mine. It's a little goal I have to develop that skill. So we'll go ahead. I'll stand up this time. Put the chair aside. So when I was training, I was standing up. I don't know. I got nothing to do and no room to work. So, and this camera is right next to the wall. So I pretty much, let's do it against the wall. I pretty much would go here, 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 and do an X. So from an X, just going through an X, always going through an X. So I'm slashing from here and slashing from here. Those two positions, those are my main positions, because I'm just coming back and forth. Now I wouldn't know what to do from here except go forward and back. That's all I know, is to go forward and back. Or if I had it turned around, I'd go sideways from side to side. So I'd come side to side, side to side, side to side, side to side, side to side. side to side, real passionately, in a manner that just, I keep it close to my body, so I keep the edge close to my body. And then the worst thing that could happen, I think about it, is that someone traps me and hits me with my own blade. But I try and, in this scenario, I try and maintain my hand. So I'm trying to remember as I go. This is just quick learning. Just a shotgun to the face, I'm just putting my hand here, so I'm trying to defend that motion. So if someone brings it up, it's gonna come up. If someone brings it down, it's gonna come down. But the easiest for it to do is for it to come down, because that's where my wrist turns. So here I restrain myself, and I have some force to apply, and here I just give. So the worst is to give. So I would keep my hand underneath and then just passionately swing it side to side. If I was this way, I'd try and keep it back. So I would try and keep the knife back, so that way it's out of reach. It's something that I'm just gonna go stab forward with. Come from the side, come from the bottom, come from the top. I'm just not too sure. What I think is I need some lessons, and some lessons will help me develop my skill. I just don't know where I can get some lessons from. I'll probably have to read a book or something. That's the best thing I can think of, because I'm a bit of a pacifist, and I mean, I like street fighting, don't get me wrong, but street fighting only gets you so far, and it's not a discipline. Street fighting is a reckless move. It's something that you do when you really want to get into trouble, or you really just want to get hurt. You get yourself hurt. Know what I mean? So street fighting is not exactly a good thing, and it doesn't teach you much except to be brave. So I'm not a big fan of going out to learn. Is that what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not really a big fan of going out to learn from people and practice towards people. Whenever I do a video with a knife, I'm the dummy. That's what I do. I might, like, I'm on my knees now, but for example, I mean, I can practice on my knees. It's not really a big deal. It's just like sitting. So I'll practice, and I'll remind myself to cut the veins, to cut the wrist. So I'll go from the wrist to the what is this part? The forearm. The wrist to the forearm to the shoulder to the neck. And then, if I can, I'll practice the opposite. So I'll go down here, down here, down here. So in the opposite direction. So if I was going outwards, so I'll go inwards, I'll go down the wrist, down to the forearm, to the shoulder, to the neck, and I'll go from the neck to the shoulder, to the wrist, or the forearm, and then the wrist going outwards. So outward attack. So I'm not really trying to hurt myself, because like I said, this is a dull knife. And I'm also not really trying to train on anyone either, because I feel like it's an offense. When you gotta try and train against someone, it's a major offense, and people just, it's almost out of battery. People are all different, you just don't know how they'll react. So you have to be real careful. It might be a training situation and everything, but that instinct, and that competitive edge, and not only that, people actually wanting to cause harm. Some people might want to learn to cause, because they want to learn an art, like some people call it. They might call it an art. Some people want to learn to kill. They actually have an intention to go out and hurt somebody, and that's why they want to learn. So, what am I saying? So I don't have any skill, you know. This is me failing to demonstrate any skill, you know. I've All I can think of is just slash slash slash, you know. That's all I can think of is a vicious slash, you know, passionate attack, attack of passion, you know. Where if I was up against a knife fighter, I wouldn't know what to do. A real knife fighter, like I'm a I'm a fan of this guy named Guru Dan Inosanto. He's a knife fighter and a martial artist. He does what it's called is Pakiti Tersha. I think it's called Filipino stick fighting and Arnis or Kali. I'm not sure which of the four of them come together into martial arts, or if they're separate martial arts on their own. I think they're all separate martial arts. So there's Pakiti Tersha, there's Arnis, and there's Kali. And I think Arnis and Kali are the same. So I think Arnis and Kali is what they call Filipino stick fighting, which translate into knife fighting. So I don't have anyone to train with like that to say that I can learn that well. But I watch his videos and I noticed that, you know, there's a lot of contact involved. So whenever I think of contact, I always try and like make some contact with a knife. You know, if I'm thinking about an actual knife fight, I'll make contact with a knife with another knife. So I'll go clap, clap, slash, slash, clap, clap, slash, slash. You know, I always remind myself that, you know, when it comes down to it, you're gonna cross swords. You know, it's not about just going in for the hit, because if you go just in for the hit, then you could get stabbed. That's pretty much what's gonna happen. You're gonna try and go for a hit, and he goes for a hit, and two people die at once. I don't know, one person dies. God knows what would happen. So I think of the knife. You know, the first thing you want to take out is that knife. So I don't know how you defend against another knife with a knife. And that's my problem. You know, I'm having this problem of trying to learn knife fighting on my own. And it's messy. It's all messy. It's everywhere, all over the place. I'm not sure which direction to go start from. You know, I would generally think I'd start from here, you know. I'd start in X, you know. That's pretty much how I box. Is I box like this. So I figure out I'll start from where I fight from normally. So I box like this. I never go in like, oh, I'm gonna beat someone up. I'm gonna go in and get the blows right in. You know, I always cover my face. I'm always starting out like this because I don't want to get hit. That's the first thing I'm thinking. I don't want to take the first hit. I'd rather do the first blocks than take the first hit. So if we both stand like this, you know, someone's gonna take the first hit, and it's it's un it's unpredictable. You know, you can't really tell who's gonna get the best hit unless you know the person, or you train with them, or you're the best, or they're the best. You just don't know. So if they take up a fighting stance, you take up a defensive stance. That's what I think. So I would start from here. This is my idea. It's to start from here. There's almost a 20-minute video. Just a little dialogue so you get an idea of where I'm coming from. I would start from here, and I would generally want to stab and then, you know, drop their guard, like I've seen done by some professionals. You know, they seem to go in for a hit, a kill, and then, you know, I'll call it a kill, and then, you know, try and block their guard. So if you're hitting them, and then their instinct is to grab onto you, you know, you go hit and then you block, hit and then you block. So you hit and then you block. That's what I'm thinking, because that's what I do. I go ahead when I'm fighting hand to hand. I'll go ahead and I'll cover my face, and I'll do a hit. I'll do a hit, and then I'll do a block. Hit and then a block, and it translates into both hands blocking, because you're going over the hands or underneath. But what you're doing is you're disabling their motion. You know, you're keeping them from coming up with the hit. They might uppercut if they're really strong, but you're still putting your force, you know, your strength down against that. You're restricting their motion, and then you move forward from there. So you restrict the motion, and then you move forward from there. That's where I'm coming from. So I would start from here. I'd slash and restrict motion, slash and restrict motion. And I understand that there's a danger with what I'm doing, is that, especially whenever I try and bring my hand over And I think that's where the discipline starts, is that you get so used to it and you lose that fear of you cutting yourself that you're just, I'm not too sure. What can I say? What else can I say? I'm not a professional. No, I'm not a professional. No, I'm not disciplined. Yes, I know restraint. And I definitely understand that there's a legality to what I'm saying, you know. But in the end of the day, it's a freedom of mind to speak. And it's also, you know, this is America. It's freedom of mind to speak and also to entertain. You know, I'm just a little bit of entertainment for the world to see. So so I'll just go ahead, try out a demonstration, I guess. Try out another demonstration, see if I can get an idea of what I'm doing. I should have started skip the 20 minutes so you can just see the the demonstration. So I'll start with one knife. Diga. Huh? I'm making a video. What has that mean?
¿El video de qué?
I'm just making a video on some martial arts. I'm just with some dialogue. I'm just speaking to myself.
Okay. Cuidado con estar poniendo nada en el internet. Déjate de cosas, está poniendo pendeja que ahora tenemos un gobierno que es peligroso.
Okay.
No te estés buscando problemas sin necesidad ni me lo busques a mí. Te cabrea los problemas. Quiero saber los problemas y salir de esto aquí. Mi propia propiedad.
Alright. I'll see you. I definitely got these taken away one time because I told my dad, well, listen, I'm practicing martial arts and I'm going to be practicing knife fighting, and I bought this just to practice knife fighting. And I told him exactly what they were. I told him these were tongs at one point, and I snapped them in half. And from there, I used them. I figured, you know, this is the best trainers because they're dull. They're already dull. They're not a real weapon. Can be used as a weapon. Anything can be used as a weapon. Our two hands can be used as a weapon, but I got these taken away. And he said, you know, I don't want you training this, and if you train this, I'm gonna leave the house or I'm gonna kick you out. I can't stand you training this stuff. You know, my parents never been a big fan of any violent thing. You know, they're not a big fan of it at all. Anything that demonstrates violence, they're totally against it. And I'm jealous because my dad, when he was a young man, he was taught martial arts. He was put into karate, and he would tell us stories. And he'd say, yeah, I was in karate, me and my brother. And that always pisses me off because I'm like, well, wow, thanks a lot. You know, I've always wanted to learn something. But in his you know, jealousy to take care of us, he always kept us out of harm's way. And that included, you know, any sports, that just any competitive, you know, people just people's reactions. You know, he didn't like people's reactions to anything, so he pretty much kept us out of those things for our own safety. You know, you ever heard of people gambling in children's sports, things like that? That's just fucked up. So technically, I'm already breaking the law just by holding these knives. And when the old man's out the door and I'm playing with this, it's just terrible. Anyway, so back to demonstration. So I'm thinking of something like this. I'm thinking of just swinging my hands. You know, I'm not too sure of when to block. So I'm thinking I should go ahead and slash. I should go ahead and slash. And then at some point, I feel like I should slash and have this ready to block. The problem is that I don't know which hand to block and which hand to strike with. There's just a lot of problems I'm having. You know what, truth be told, I'm just going to put these down. I'll practice later on some other... I'll practice later on some... on some other occasion, and I'll put this video up so that I have a little bit of dialogue to what I'm doing. That's it. Video's over.